So here we are in the pulpit. You know, in a Baptist church, a pulpit is the center of basically of our auditorium. It's the focal point. So why is preaching so important? Is it something that the church made up? Is it even biblical? Well, we have it in 1 Corinthians chapter 1. And I want to read a little bit of a text for you in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, starting in verse 17. So it says, "For Christ sent me not to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with wisdom of words, lest the cross of Christ should be made of none effect. For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved it is the power of God." So here in this passage it tells us that the Apostle Paul came to preach. That's the biblical mandate. That's why preaching is so important. It's not something that we've just come up with. It's not just something that Baptists have just come up with. It's something that God has instructed the church to have preachers. And yes, the world will consider preaching foolishness. But for us that are saved, it is the power of God. Why is there a disdain for preaching in this day and age? I thought of three reasons why preaching is disdained. One is because our culture has moved away from the foundation of the Word of God. As our culture has slipped away from the Bible, the preaching of the Word of God seems silly. It seems like it's a fairy tale, or this is a book that is just a bunch of fiction. Martin Luther said the following: "Nothing is more perilous than to be weary of the Word of God. Thinking he knows enough, a person begins little by little to despise the Word until he has lost Christ and the gospel altogether." Isn't that true of our society? There is a disdain for preaching because our culture has moved away from this foundation, the Word of God.